I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and here today with me is Claude Bejet of Swiss Gold Letter. He's also a well-connected private investor. Really happy to be here with you today at PDAC.
Great to see you. I've watched a lot of your videos and they're terrific, so you're doing a great job.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And I thought, since it's our first time speaking together, if you could just give me a quick overview of your background and what you do at Swiss Gold Letter.
Well, I have a funny background. I majored from the Paris Business School. At the same time, I majored in philosophy, sociology, and psychology. Probably what's most important for our business is the psychological factor. And then I work in marketing, I work in advertising. But since 2008, I've been concentrating on managing my own money, essentially in junior gold mines, which has had some big ups and unfortunately some big downs. So I'm not immune to these shocks.
Right. I was going to say, we are all aware that the resource industry is cyclical. The gold market is also cyclical. We get these ups and downs. Where do you see us as being in that cycle right now when it comes to gold?
Right. So that's a key question, because the first thing in investing, you have to know if you are in a bull market or if you're in a bear market. That's the key point. We've had, again, a devastating bear market in junior golds. The GDX was down 50%. That means that some of our stocks are down 70%, 80%. So there's been damage. Late October, I wrote a piece that we were turning, and the evidence was that the sentiment was so bad, it was just as bad as 2015 after the 90% decline in the junior index. So the sentiment was so bad, we were starting to make higher lows, and I figured it was the bottom. It was confirmed on Friday, November 4th. The index was not up 3%, 4%. It was up a huge 11%. And my experience in markets, whatever the markets, is bull markets start with a bang, and a bang we had. So I think we're in for a lot of better markets and great profit opportunities.
This is nice to hear. So we've made it out of the woods when it comes to gold. What are the main factors that you're going to be keeping an eye on in 2023?
Yeah, well, I'm specialized in junior gold stocks, and what's really remarkable is that while the big caps were starting to turn around and making new highs, we had a nice upward move of 50% on the global index, GDX. But while a lot of people were having fun, I was still licking my wounds because the junior gold stocks were still in a declining wedge. But this is it was a 6-month wedge. It's a pretty powerful pattern. And now, mid-January, we broke out of this declining wedge. So that makes me believe that maybe this time we're going to have a real bull market on the junior stock. So that's where I would concentrate, because that's where most of the value is.
Right, so you're clearly looking at chart patterns here when you look at the juniors and other aspects of the gold market. So when we look at 2023, do you see signs that this is going to be sustained among the juniors? Well,
normally yes, because all the weak hands have been thrown out of the market. I mean, we've had a devastating 2-year bear market, so the weak hands are out. So that means that if something positive comes, then it can go up in a vacuum, more or less. So it should be dynamic, but we never know for sure in these markets.
That's very true. So with the juniors, the gold juniors, you can go in a lot of different directions. So what is your strategy if we get a little bit more specific on what you're looking for? What types of companies are you thinking of?
Well, I've never found the perfect strategy to play this gold market, because normally if you're a reasonable investor, you have to control risk. I have not found the perfect way to control risk. But let's say today, since so many stocks are near their lows, if some of your viewers are not fully invested, they can take a position and they can put stop losses under the recent lows. So by doing that, you can increase your leverage, because if I'm right and we have a real bull market, you're going to have stocks doubling, tripling, quadrupling. You're going to have 10 baggers. And today you can control your risk, because you've had for me, a very significant breakout. If I'm wrong, you can cut your loss short and get out. So, and then of course, you know, you buy in a bull market, you're supposed to buy the dips, you know, the obvious things, and of course diversify.
Are you looking for anything specific in terms of jurisdiction, other criteria when it comes to the gold juniors?
Yes, that's a very good question. I like to diversify worldwide. I know the trend is that you should only be in safe jurisdiction, which is probably today Canada and the U.S. Well, first of all, I doubt that it's so safe to be in Canada and the U.S. because things can change. So I like to be diversified across the world. Mark Bristow built a mine in 4 years in Congo. You cannot do that in Canada, you cannot do that in the U.S. Now, of course, you cannot have a big position in, you know, in a funny country or, you know, in Bougainville or whatever. But you're usually paid for the political risk. So if today you're buying Peru or Mexico, you're going to pay much less than if you're buying a normal stock in Canada. So you're paid for the risk, and as long as you're diversified enough, then it's I think it's a good bet.
That's so true. And so aside from jurisdiction, what else are you looking at when it comes to the gold juniors? Are you looking at a particular stage of company? Are you looking for a takeout target? Are you looking for something that will bring something all the way to production? Where are you going?
Right. Well, you know, there are different ways to skin the cat. One of my big themes today is that today, after this big bear market, you can buy quality companies, especially companies with production growth, at a discount. Because, as I said, psychology is extremely important in our business, and the analysts have been traumatized by the fact that companies like Cote had a huge cost overrun. So today, analysts put a negative valuation on growth. So you can buy very good companies with growth at a discount. Of course, as this bull market evolves, you'll have a premium. So you're going to benefit from production growth, you're going to benefit from re-rating by analysts. So you have a double whammy. That's one way to do it. You can buy development companies who have huge assets in the ground. There's no production risk then, and you wait for a re-rating. Of course, in the junior space, what goes up the most is a discovery, especially on a new sector, but that's much more speculative.
Okay, this is all really helpful just to give me an idea of how you look at the market when it comes to picking stocks. So I wondered if now we could get some examples of companies that you find interesting right now in the gold space.
Right. Okay, well, first of all, we want to invest with companies where the CEOs, they make money for the shareholders. And there's not, as we all know, there are not so many of them. So I would today, after this bear market, you can invest with the legends of this industry at reasonable prices. In fact, at rock bottom prices. So, for example, a good bet is Ross Beatty. He's made fortunes for shareholders, and you can buy Equinox. It's trading today at $5.30. You can put a stop loss at $4.60, so you're risking very little. And he has huge production growth with what he has. The production in 2022 was 530,000 ounces. He's going to be at 1 million ounces in the next couple of years. That's huge growth. And most of the growth will come from the fantastic mine they're putting into production in Canada, which will probably be producing in 24. 400 something, it'll reach 400,000 ounces. Today, every analyst will tell you that they will not be on time and that they will not be on budget. I talked to Ross Beatty yesterday. He told me it's 75% built and they'll be on time and on budget. I've known Ross Beatty for 40 years. It's a reasonable bet. Price to NAV 0.5. Seniors are trading at 1.2. So you have huge upside. Same idea with another legend, Frank Giustra. He has his new vehicle called Aris Gold. The market cap is around $800 million. They have a huge resource base, 18 million ounces measured and indicated. They have a production in Colombia. They have a great deposit in Guyana. The production growth for the next couple of years will be 17% compound, and you're getting at a discount. So that's also a very good bet. So we're going to see who wins. I mean, it's going to be the fight of the titans. So is it going to be Ross Beatty, the old timer, or is it going to be Frank Giustra? Frank Giustra is younger. Maybe he's going to be more aggressive in mergers and acquisitions. We'll see who wins the race. So mergers and acquisitions is also a good way to skin the cat. I have two stocks that I like quite a lot because they're unbelievably cheap. Condor Gold, they have a very good deposit in Nicaragua. They have a PFS, they're construction ready. They have a permit. And the market cap is $45 million, but they can be producing 100,000 ounces. $45 million, and they'll produce for $100,000. They'll be taken out, especially since the major shareholders wants to sell, and he wants to sell quick. Another acquisition, which is very possible, Treasury Metal. This time you're in Ontario, so it's an easier jurisdiction. They just came out with a new PFS. Nobody cared, but excellent PFS at $1,750 gold. The after-tax NPV is $336 million, IRR 25%. They'll be producing 90,000 ounces. The market is, you're paying $50 million for the whole company in Ontario. They'll have a permit probably by the end of the year, construction ready next year. At $1,950 gold, the market cap is 10 times that amount. So, of course, as we all know, in a bull market in precious metal, what goes up the most is silver. So if you want the legend in the silver, of course, it's Keith Neumeier. I usually don't buy his stock because it's too expensive for me. I'm buying it now because it went down hugely. It was a $25 stock in 2011. You can buy it now for $7, so it's gone down a lot. In the meantime, it's made huge progress, so I think the amount of risk is pretty low. Same thing, he's going to have growth, others will not, so he'll be at a premium, that's clear. Other more smaller stocks in silver, Guanajuato silver, symbol is GSVR, 35 cents. So the big thing there is that you have as the CEO Ramon Davila. This guy is the best miner in Mexico. He made the fortune of First Majestic because he was in charge of the production there. He's doing that on his own, for his own account in the Guanajuato company. He worked also for Pan American Silver, which is of course a buy also now. He worked for Fresnillo. The production has tripled since last year. It's going to triple again in the next couple of years, going from about 2 million ounces last year to 6 million next year. Pretty nice bet. Same idea in Mexico with Avino Silver. The market cap is $130 million. They're in Durango, which is a good jurisdiction to build mines. They have 368 ounces, which means you're paying silver in the ground 35 cents. Today silver is $20, you're paying 35 cents in the ground. They made a fantastic acquisition by buying La Preciosa. They bought 137 million ounces of silver for $39 million. And the beauty of this is that Kerr, a few years before that, had bought the same property for $350 million. Here the production will go from 3 million this year to $8 million ounces in 2028. So you see huge growth. Maybe we can end on a more speculative note because we're talking here exploration. Orion, I like it a lot because it's run by Dave Lowton. He's extremely prudent. He knows how to spend when you should spend and not spend when you should not, so he's not going to disintegrate the share structure. So there's a lot of rainbows on this thing. They have a joint venture with B2 Gold, which is very successful. They're just near Rupert on the same trend. Rupert is now a $1 billion company, and they're on trend. They're finding grades of 1.5. Rupert is at 2.5. But by keeping drilling, they have a huge land package. It's a high probability that they find the same type of high grade. They've already made, you've seen plenty of rainbows, and you know that under a rainbow, there's a pot of gold. So Amarusco is a discovery. Now they just, if they have the money to drill it thoroughly, it'll be a resource. Now, the exciting part, that's why I'm buying it now, is that in February they made a new discovery at Risky with a hole which was 56 meters of 2.4 grams. So it's a speculation, but you're in pretty good hands. So here are a few ideas. Of course, I'm sure all your viewers have their ideas. If they know a good company, they should, average down now, and hopefully we can all profit from this bull market.
I really appreciate that broad range of answers, and especially the point you made about you don't have to get too risky right now. You can buy these large companies with well-known leaders at these very cheap prices. So I think that's a good point for everyone to remember. As we're wrapping up here, it's been really great speaking with you. I wondered if you just had any further comments about either the gold and silver markets in 2023, things that you would want investors to be aware of.
Yes, don't get fixated on anything. If we're in a bull market, all the news will be interpreted positively. So don't get hung up by, oh, it cannot go up because the dollar is doing this or because interest rates are going down, are doing something else. I'm French, and we want to be always too intellectual. We want to find reasons to everything. And I'm trying to be a little more practical like you are in Canada. So, don't think too much. It's a bull market. So just follow the trend. As long as the trend is up, don't try and cut corners. And also, buy now that it's cheap.
Okay, it sounds simple, but I know that it can be tricky for people.
It's tricky for me also, don't worry.
You've been doing it a long time.
And
okay.
Because look, we've been through 6 massive black holes since 2011. So, we all have scars.
It's true. Well, we will leave it there. Thank you so much for coming on to talk. It was really great to meet you and hear your thoughts on what's going on, and especially appreciate all those examples of companies that people may want to check out.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. And once again, I'm Charlotte McLeod with the Investing News Network, and this is Claude Bejet with Swiss Gold Letter.